Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York. He grew up in a large family, the son of real estate developer Fred Trump. From a young age, Donald was surrounded by the world of construction, property development, and ambition. His father instilled in him the belief that success meant winning big, standing out, and never settling for less. Trump attended the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, one of America's top business schools. Even in college, he was known for his confidence, his bold personality, and his willingness to think bigger than most of his peers. After graduation, he joined his father's real estate business, but Donald had his own vision. He wanted not only to build homes but to create skyscrapers, luxury hotels, casinos, and monuments to wealth and success. By the 1980s, Donald Trump had transformed himself into one of New York City's most recognizable figures. He bought iconic properties like the Grand Hyatt Hotel and built Trump Tower, a gleaming skyscraper on Fifth Avenue that became a symbol of his style: gold, marble, and grandeur. Trump wasn't just a businessman. He became a celebrity businessman. His face was in newspapers, his name was on buildings, and his image was everywhere. Trump's larger-than-life personality led him into the world of entertainment. He made appearances on talk shows, was featured in magazines, and became a pop culture figure. His most famous role came with the hit television show The Apprentice, where his catchphrase, "You're fired," became known around the world. But behind the glitter, Trump's business career had ups and downs. Some ventures flourished, while others ended in bankruptcy. Still, Trump mastered the art of publicity. He knew how to stay in the headlines, how to dominate the conversation, and how to make himself a household name. By the early 2000s, Donald Trump was no longer just a businessman. He had built a brand, Trump, that stood for power, wealth, and boldness. But no one could have predicted that this same man would one day step into the White House, becoming one of the most controversial and talked-about presidents in American history. In the early 2010s, Donald Trump's name was still attached to luxury real estate, hotels, golf courses, and television. Yet, his eyes turned toward a bigger stage: politics. Trump had flirted with the idea of running for president before, but in 2015, he made it official. Standing inside Trump Tower, he announced that he would run for president of the United States. At first, many dismissed his candidacy as a publicity stunt. Trump was seen as an outsider, a businessman with no political experience, known more for his bold personality than for any policy expertise. But that outsider status became his greatest strength. He connected with voters who felt ignored by traditional politicians. His slogan, "Make America Great Again," struck a chord with millions who felt left behind by globalization, job losses, and cultural changes. Trump's campaign style was unlike anything Americans had seen before. He dominated television news, used social media to speak directly to the public, and created headlines with nearly every speech. He was blunt, unapologetic, and often controversial. But whether people loved him or hated him, they couldn't stop talking about him. In 2016, Trump achieved what many had thought impossible. Against seasoned politicians, against the predictions of experts, and against the expectations of the media, Donald Trump won the presidency. His victory shocked the world. He had gone from being a reality TV star and businessman to the 45th president of the United States. Donald Trump entered the White House with a promise to shake things up. He positioned himself as a leader who would challenge the political establishment, question long-standing traditions, and put America first. His presidency was marked by major policy shifts. He pushed for tax reforms, rolled back regulations, and reshaped U.S. trade policy by renegotiating agreements with countries like Canada, Mexico, and China. Trump emphasized border security, immigration reforms, and a stronger stance on protecting American jobs. Supporters praised him for delivering on campaign promises, while critics accused him of dividing the nation. On the world stage, Trump's approach was bold and unconventional. He met with leaders such as North Korea's Kim Jong-un, challenging decades of diplomatic norms. He pressed NATO allies to increase defense spending and pulled the U.S. out of international agreements he believed were unfair. The Trump presidency was also filled with controversy. His use of social media, especially Twitter, was unprecedented. Every message sparked debate, often bypassing traditional media and speaking directly to millions of followers. For his supporters, this was refreshing honesty. For his opponents, it was reckless. Despite the chaos, Trump remained a figure who commanded attention. His rallies drew massive crowds, his policies shaped global debates, and his presence dominated headlines day after day. No presidency is without challenges, and Trump's time in office was no exception. His administration faced political battles, media criticism, and deep divisions in American society. Investigations and hearings kept his presidency under constant scrutiny. The biggest test of his leadership came with the COVID-19 pandemic. As the virus spread across the globe, Trump's response became one of the defining moments of his presidency. Supporters said he acted quickly to restrict travel and protect the economy, while critics argued that his handling of the crisis lacked coordination and clarity. The pandemic reshaped everyday life for millions of Americans and influenced the political climate leading into the 2020 election. Trump continued to campaign with energy, holding rallies and pushing his message of economic recovery and national pride. Yet, the challenges of the pandemic and growing political polarization made the election one of the most heated in U.S. history. Donald Trump remains one of the most influential figures in modern American politics. His presidency ended, but his movement did not. Millions of Americans continue to support him, seeing him as a champion of their values, someone who spoke directly to them in a way few politicians ever had. For his critics, Trump is a divisive figure, someone whose leadership left deep scars on America's political system. For his supporters, he is a voice of strength and defiance, willing to challenge elites and fight for ordinary citizens. Even out of office, Trump has maintained his presence in American life. His speeches, rallies, and statements continue to draw attention. His influence on the Republican Party remains strong, and his name is often at the center of speculation about the future of U.S. politics. Donald Trump's story is still being written. From the streets of Queens to the Oval Office, from real estate mogul to television star to president, he has defied expectations at every turn. Love him or hate him, one thing is certain. Donald Trump has left an indelible mark on American history, and his legacy will be debated for generations to come.